Andy is an entrepreneur. He wants to build a web application. He is confused between the technology choice. Should he use Java, Ruby, Python, or something else? He hires Charlie, a technology geek.
Good morning, Andy.
Hi Charlie. So what technology shall we go ahead with?
I think Ruby on Rails is an ideal open source technology.
Really? Why do you think so?
Well, it has a growing developer community, supports plug-and-play functionality, great internet products are built on it. And yes, it is economical.
Can you tell me something about the technology stack?
Let us start with the language, Ruby. Besides being object-oriented, it is dynamic. It can execute common programming behaviors during runtime.
Rails is the only framework it supports.
No. It has three types of rapid frameworks: Padrino, Sinatra. Rails, Padrino helps the developer quickly set up their project. It also comes with a dynamic administrative interface. Sinatra is useful for small sites with only a few pages, or for writing API-based application. Rails speeds up the development process, through following conventions like convention over configuration. Don't repeat yourself. Model View Controller. Rails has a wealth of pre-written code. Ruby on Rails also supports agile development.
Great. What about the architecture?
For UI and UX, it supports Bootstrap, Foundation and Kendo UI templates which are responsive in nature. Ruby on Rails supports relational databases like MySQL and PostgreSQL. For non-relational, there is Cassandra. Ruby on Rails supports NoSQL databases like MongoDB and Neo4j.
Oh. These are great for supporting features of a web application.
Let me tell you more about the stack. Rack middleware is used for implementation of the pipeline design pattern for web servers.
Okay. I think we would need full-text search functionality in our application.
We can add either Thinking Sphinx or Sunspot Solar. Thinking Sphinx is an open-source full-text search engine. Sunspot is a Ruby library for expressive, powerful interaction with the Solar search engine.
Oh. That sounds good. We surely need this library. Charlie, what about the application server?
Rails supports application servers like Thin, Wenric, Puma, Unicorn and Fay. It supports web servers like Nginx, Mongrel and Apache.
Alright, and what development tools does Rails offer?
We can use either of RubyMine, NetBeans, RodRails, Aptana, Sublime, TextMate, Emacs as IDE. RubyMine provides intelligent code completion for Ruby and Ruby on Rails code. It allows on-the-fly code analysis and refactoring support for web applications. For source code management we can either use GitHub or Bitbucket.
But Charlie, how do we manage the entire project?
That is very important. Rails supports excellent project management tools, like Pivotal Tracker, Redmine, Jira or Confluence.
That's great. How do we deploy?
It supports deployment tools like Capistrano, Chef, Puppet and Rubber. For deployment platform we can always use Amazon EC2, Heroku or DigitalOcean.
Charlie, we will also need integration tools to support our payment gateway.
Oh, don't worry. We can integrate payment gateways like Dwolla and Stripe API.
Excellent. But how do we test it?
We can do functional and unit testing through open source libraries like RSpec, Shoulda and Factory Girl. Rails framework also has an inbuilt library to do testing called Minitest. For browser testing, there are tools like Cucumber. WebRat has libraries like WebDrivers to run test case without opening a browser. And Capybara has libraries like Selenium modules to run test case on various browsers. So Andy, what do you think about the technology choice now?
Yes, Ruby on Rails it is.
To get a copy of Ruby Stack or to talk to our experts, email us at info@people10.com.